In the shadow of a fractured Hellenic world, 411 BCE marked a pivotal moment for Athens. Reeling from the catastrophic Sicilian expedition and a year of political upheaval, the city-state stood on the precipice of resurgence. Yet, with Sparta now bolstered by the might of the Persian Empire, the tides of the Peloponnesian War were shifting. How would Athens, with its restored democracy and naval prowess, fare against this formidable new alliance? This narrative delves into the intricate dance of power, betrayal, and strategy that defined this critical phase of the war, as told by AI American generals. In the wake of political turmoil, Athens saw the return of its democratic ideals, accompanied by the re-emergence of key figures like Alcibiades. Once branded a traitor, Alcibiades sought redemption through military triumphs. Athens turned its gaze to the Hellespont, aiming to secure control and expel Spartan and Persian influence. By 410 BCE, the Athenians had rebuilt their navy, preparing for intense confrontations in the narrow straits. Their efforts paid off as they thwarted Spartan attempts to aid allied cities like Chalcedon, securing a diplomatic victory with Pharnabazos, a Persian satrap, to maintain control over the region. However, Sparta was not idle. The tides of fortune shifted as Persian court intrigue brought a new player to the forefront, Cyrus, the second-born Achaemenid prince. Supported by his mother, Persides, Cyrus outmaneuvered his rivals and forged a strategic alliance with Sparta, setting the stage for a renewed challenge to Athenian dominance. In 407 BCE, the Spartan commander Lysander returned as navarch, determined to assert Sparta's influence in the Aegean. Recognizing Athens' strength, he tightened the Perso-Spartan alliance, meeting Cyrus in Sardis to coordinate efforts against their common enemy. This alliance was not without tension, as Sparta feared losing its role as Hellas' protector, while Persia wary of Sparta emerging as a new regional rival. Using Persian funds, Sparta bolstered its fleet, increasing its triremes from 70 to 90. Alcibiades, seeking to counter Lysander, led an Athenian fleet to Notium but left his second-in-command, Antiochos, with strict orders not to engage. Defiant, Antiochos launched an ill-fated attack. Historical accounts diverge here. Diodorus claims Antiochos led 10 ships to Ephesus, only to be crushed by Lysander's forces, while Xenophon suggests a smaller initial engagement escalated into a full Spartan victory. Regardless, the Athenians suffered a devastating loss, with 15 of their 22 ships sunk. Alcibiades, humiliated, attempted a final stand at Ephesus, but Lysander wisely refused to engage. Disgraced, Alcibiades retreated to Samos, his political career in ruins. He later fled to Thrace and met his end in 404 BCE, allegedly assassinated on Lysander's orders after a failed bid to regain favor at the Persian court. In 406 BCE, Lysander was succeeded by Callicratidas, who continued Sparta's campaign to disrupt Athenian control along the Ionian coast. Callicratidas amassed a fleet of 140 ships and targeted Athenian strongholds, beginning with Delphinium on Chios. The Athenian garrison, vastly outnumbered, surrendered without a fight, and the fortress was razed. Callicratidas then turned to Methym on Lesbos, facing a larger Athenian garrison. Despite fierce resistance, the city fell either through betrayal, as Diodorus suggests, or a successful assault, per Xenophon. The Peloponnesian fleet pursued the Athenian commander Conon, who fled to Mytilene after failing to aid Methym. Callicratidas chased him into the city's harbor, initiating a prolonged siege. Conon, trapped and facing starvation, attempted to send for aid. Accounts differ. Xenophon describes one ship reaching Athens, while Diodorus claims Callicratidas intercepted the Athenian messengers. Regardless, the stage was set for a larger confrontation as Athens prepared to break the siege. The plight of Conon spurred Athens to action. In 406 BCE, the city assembled a formidable fleet of 155 ships, led by 8 generals, including Pericles the Younger and Thrasyllus. The Spartans, under Callicratidas, fielded 120 ships, leaving the remainder to maintain the Mytilene blockade. The fleets clashed off the Arginusae Islands in what became the war's greatest naval battle. Athens employed a brilliant strategy, arranging their fleet in 2 lines with allies in the center, using the islands to protect their rear. Callicratidas, outnumbered and wary of Persian dependence, initiated the battle. The Athenians' disciplined formation and strategic positioning overwhelmed the Spartans. Callicratidas met his end in the chaos, either falling overboard, as Xenophon claims, or dying in combat, per Diodoros. The Spartan fleet collapsed, losing 70 ships to Athens' 25. Despite the victory, a storm and divided forces prevented the Athenians from rescuing their stranded sailors or recovering the dead. Conon was freed from the blockade, but the failure to save their comrades cast a shadow over the triumph, setting the stage for controversy in Athens. The victory at Arginusae was bittersweet. The Athenian generals faced public outrage for failing to rescue their sailors, exacerbated by political rivalries. The generals blamed trierarchs Thrasybulos and Theramenes for the oversight, while the latter argued the generals' pursuit of the Spartans was reckless. In a heated and hasty trial, 6 generals were found guilty and executed, a decision Athens later regretted. 2 others, Aristogenes and Protomachos, fled to avoid prosecution. Sparta offered peace, but Athens, emboldened by their victory and led by figures like Cleophon, rejected the terms, believing they could dominate the Aegean. This decision, coupled with Lysander's imminent return, set the war on a collision course toward its climactic final years. The Peloponnesian War's twilight years were a crucible of ambition, betrayal, and resilience. Athens, rising from the ashes of defeat, showcased its indomitable spirit at Arginusae, yet internal strife and hubris sowed the seeds of its undoing. Sparta, bolstered by Persian gold and Lysander's cunning, stood poised to strike. As the war barreled toward its decisive battles, the fates of Athens and Sparta hung in the balance, their destinies intertwined with the whims of gods and men. Follow AI American generals to explore the climactic battles of Aegospotami and the Siege of Athens, where the Hellenic world's future would be forged. Like and subscribe to AI American Generals for more gripping tales of history's greatest conflicts.